Welcome back to La Houge Yanks. We talk everything Canada soccer and US soccer. Today we're going to be doing a recap on the US women's national team's game versus Australia in Sydney last night. And the reason why it's happening today or this morning after is because of the time difference. The game ended at like 1 p.m. Eastern time, but 3 p.m. local time over there. So if instead of just trying to do a video where I was really tired, I figured I would just wait until this morning and do it. So here I am now. And yeah, without further ado, let's talk about the game. In this one, the U.S. women's national team would win 3-0 over Australia. And, I think their nickname, the Aguilas, or I have to get that right. I'll find that out. But anyway, other than that, the U.S. wins 3-0. The purpose of this game and the next game they have on the 30th against Australia is supposed to serve as a test to this young lineup that the U.S. has. As remember, they're now in the post Carli Lloyd era because she retired, and this is the youngest lineup that the U.S. played since 2018, and first time since 2013 they played everybody on the starting 11 under the age of 30, and so this game and the next game against Australia is going to be a true test of basically what the USA can muster against a tough Australian opponent. And tonight, I mean, it was a really interesting test, and it's a big win. But the main question was how would this team, new faces as well, a lot of new faces, and I'm gonna post an image here. This is all the debuts that happened yesterday morning. So shout out to all the people that got their debuts, and yeah, that really just shows where the team is going and how it's transition time, right? Trying to get ready for the next phase of the new shift for World Cup 2023 for the women's. So, yeah, that happened. So, other than a lot of debuts, including the new keeper, new faces. I want to go ahead and talk about the lineup that the U.S. played here, and so that way we can see some of the new faces that we have. And so, the U.S. played 4-3-3, it looks like, with Casey Murphy as a new keeper, new face. Emily Fox, I think she's been around. Tiana Davison, she's been around. Alina Cook, I think that's a new face. Emily Sonnet, she's been around. Lindsey Horan, she's been around, of course, and notice how she's the new captain and number 10 of the team. Andy Sullivan, I think she's been around. Rose Lavelle, she's been around. And then up top, you got Lynn Williams, who's been around. Ashley Hatch, which is new. And then Margaret Purse, or Mitch Purse, she's been around. So a few new faces here, but the majority of them will come off the bench. And I can show you guys that too. As yeah, here are the people that came off the bench, and they're, the USA's first cappers, right? We got Ashley Sanchez, Casey Murphy as, of course, the keeper. She didn't come off the bench, but she was a keeper. Morgan Weaver and Bethany Bosser. So congrats to those women who get their first cap tonight. And without further ado, let's dive right into the scoreline. So right off the kickoff, immediately after, Australia has it, but then they're very sloppy. And the USA sees this and they pounce on it. They come down the field over the top balls. Australia can't control it. I mean, poor controlling here by the Australian center backs. And basically, Ashley Hatch for the USA capitalizes on it, and just 24 seconds in, she puts it past the keeper, and this is actually the third fastest goal in U.S. women's history, as she gives the U.S. an early 1-0 lead over Australia. And I mean, this is wild. And what a way to start in Australia against a tough opponent with a relatively young lineup. So far the test was starting well, and then as the game got on, the USA would get a few shots, but Australia, however, would begin to mount pressure. And we really begin to see some close chances here from Australia, especially a few wide open chances that were just great saves from Murphy, and as well as one wide open shot missed by Kyra. And I don't know how she missed that. It was literally point blank, and all she had to do was just tap it in. It was on a silver platter. What did she do? She blasted over the net, and Australia should have and could have tied the game up at 1-1 shortly before halftime. But other than that, the momentum for the USA began to shift, and we began to see Australia possess more of the ball. And so halftime would come, but as I said, the USA, despite scoring, they would be under pressure, constant pressure, as Australia would just continue to mount shots, and um, all kind of chances would go their way. So halftime, the USA obviously would have to make some adjustments, while Australia would just be able to say, keep going, keep doing what they're doing, right? But in this end, one team would make adjustments while the other would kind of be sloppy. Um, but yeah, 49th minute in, this is when the USA would actually make the only team right now to make adjustments. Once again, in the first 15 minutes of the half, Mitch Purse dribbles down the sideline. She crosses it to Rose Lavelle, and Rose Lavelle just buries it near post. It's now 2-0 for the USA, and this is a huge goal for the USA. As remember how I talked about how the momentum was shifting towards Australia's favor? Well, this goal was kind of like a slap in the face to Australia, as Australia was mounting pressure, but the USA basically just punched right in the mouth. And let's see how Australia responds now. Um, Not real. I mean, there are some chances, but they're pretty weak in between there in the 67 minute. We're in the 67 minute. Lindsey Horan, actually, for the USA, dribbles in, and she gets clipped in from behind from an Australian defender. It's a penalty for the USA. And Lindsey Horan herself would step up and take it and buries it to the left. Keeper looks like she may have got a finger on it, and maybe it looks like she didn't. I definitely heard something in the game where it sounded like she got a finger, but I'm not sure. Either way, it's in the back of the net. It doesn't matter. She couldn't save it. It's 3-0 USA. And it looks like the USA at this point has found another gear and another level. But however, Australia is still refusing to go down without a fight, as they would also force Murphy to make a couple more saves, as a couple curlers that she would have to save. And by the way, I forgot to mention that Murphy is the tallest goalkeeper to ever start for the U.S. women's national team out of all the lineups, which is, I think that might have came in handy in this game, don't you think? So imagine if the keeper was a little shorter, some of the Australian chances would have been bangers, and it would have been like the goal that Jamaica scored against for the men's team against Zach Steffen. Antonio, it would have been like him. Except thankfully, Murphy comes up with some huge saves, and from that, the U.S. pretty much managed to see this one out, and Murphy does preserve the shutout, and this is huge momentum boost going on to 30th, and hopefully the USA will take this momentum going and playing wherever they play. Forgot where the game through Newcastle, Australia will be the next one, and it looks like it's going to be another possibly a midday one or late one. So that's hopefully I can get the video out to that you guys as well. But either way, it's the end of the match. It's a big win for this young USA team, and a great learning experience, as Vlatko Andonovski, head coach of the U.S. women's, said too. Great learning experience. We're trying to get these women prepared for the 2023 World Cup, and just really just continue the transition, right? So I would say this was our first good game. Obviously a lot can do work because the game. I mean, it wasn't pretty and it wasn't beautiful. It wasn't clean, but who cares? I mean, these girls are young, so of course it's not going to be clean. You don't just, you can't just start a young, super unexperienced lineup for the most part, especially with the subs, and expect them to come on and make a huge difference right on their first game. It takes some time, right? And that's what I've been saying when they play games in Minnesota, in Kansas City, against South Korea. It takes time. It takes time to really progress and really get better. So props to those who came and made a difference, and hopefully I'm just really excited to see what this team can continue to do in the future. So with that, we have the stats. 11 shots for Australia to 14 for the U.S. 8 of the 11 for Australia were on target, while 6 to 14 were on target for the USA. Australia really, really they were really clinical here, but they just couldn't finish. A lot of shots, especially in the first half. Majority of those came from the first half. And just once again, it was just great saves by Murphy. 61% possession to 39% possession. Australia did dominate possession a lot, as the USA was mainly just happy with sitting back and defending and just waiting to spring off the counter. But I mean, it looks like it worked to an extent. However, as I said earlier, that just comes with a lot of things that need to be cleaned up a little bit. 504 passes to 332 passes complete. Australia looks like they have more passes. 80% pass actually to 67% pass. So you see the pass accuracy needs work for the USA. 11 fouls to 10. No yellow cards to 1. No red cards. No offside to 3. And 7 corners to 2. So Australia here was really mounting as much pressure as they could. But just the name of the game here was just experience, right? And that kind of goes back to the past 3 women's game I was talking about. How they need experience. They just need to play more games against tough opponents. That way they know and they can just get thrown in the fire, right? And that's just, it makes it better for the team and stuff. But name of the game here is they're young, still in transition as well as the next game. I think they're gonna play a few games in maybe December as well, maybe January. I'm not sure, but we have to stay tuned for that. But this is all just part of the process and just for the transition for this young women's team. And I mean, not really a lot I can really get upset about or critique, given how that's the summary of it. It's just they're young and they need time. But other than that, I mean, as you saw, Australia did dominate, but that, as I said many times, I mean, you can't really get mad at that with this young U.S. team. They just got to learn and really clean some of this stuff up by the next game, by the 30th. So we'll see if they can do that. But for the most part, I can't really critique anything other than better passing and stuff because they're young, as I said many times. But with that, I mean, Australia played a really great game. It was a good test for the USA. Many people said they're really happy to see this rivalry return, and I'm really happy to see that this rivalry's getting better too. More better the rivalry games are, the better it is for both teams. So, credit to Australia playing a great game. Can't wait to see what they'll muster again on the 30th, and we'll see what the USA improves on. For the most part, that pretty much does it for the video. If you like the video, make sure you like it, share, subscribe. Tell all your friends about it. Also, tell all your friends that the U.S. women's team are currently in transition in preparation for the 2022 World Cup.